All right, welcome everybody. Welcome to our special event, Phenom X Plus. We really appreciate everyone watching and listening to us today. We've got a pretty awesome set of product demonstrations to get to. All of this has stemmed from our I Am Phenom conference, which happened in March of this year, where we had well over 1,000 attendees taking really over the city of Philadelphia for 3 days. And during the course of that event, we gave user training to our customers, and then for anyone in the industry, we gave thought leadership sessions, best practices, and then, of course, our Day 2 innovation keynote. That keynote announced what is known as Phenom X Plus. Phenom X Plus is our generative AI solution for human resources that cuts across our entire platform. So what we're highlighting there is, AI and generative AI isn't just for one feature or one widget to fix. It's really something that's ingrained in platforms today, helping for Phenom talent acquisition as well as talent management professionals. In that Day 2 innovation keynote, we also touched on a total of 18 other platform updates and innovations. We're going to go through some of those innovations today. And so what you're going to experience over the next 2 hours, you're going to experience a keynote led by our co-founder and CEO, Mahe Bayireddi. It's going to take 10 to 15 minutes and talk to you about our perspective of and our point of view around AI in the industry. And then we're going to get deep into the product stuff. And you're going to hear from a slew of product leaders, thought leaders, and our strategists here at Phenom. So I think you're really going to love the next few hours. And thanks for joining us. Without anything else said, Mahe, you want to join us?
So welcome to the new webinar about the generative AI and what we're really doing in this particular episode, which is primarily about Phenom X Plus. And we have did a lot of things, but everything what we do is primarily for one reason. That is help 1 billion people find the right job. That's the only reason why we exist. Other than that, there is no rhyme and reason why the company needs to even really be there. Okay. Good. Okay. So there is a big shift really going on in the market today. And the big shift is primarily about, we all know, the machines can understand human beings at a different level and can generate content at a different equation, which we have never seen in human history. This is even possible. Now, if you look at this image, this is a generative image which is generated by Midjourney product, which is actually generating an image which is near realistic images, where you cannot really see a difference between what a real human being and what actually created by fake images. And that's the kind of output what we're really getting across every spot. That means work is fundamentally changing irrespective of what you're really doing. Especially the knowledge workers' work is going to be over-amplified by AI in a tremendous format. Now, this is not happening not just in the last, after ChatGPT came, or what does LLMs actually really came in. This is happening for the last 10 years. If you look at what happened probably 8-9 years back, Alexa came in and we have started understanding human language from a different perspective. People really thought about, with Alexa, everything will be changed. But Alexa is used for certain angles and only certain angles, not for everything. And the most important areas where Alexa is used is primarily for switching on lights, switching off, music, and also at the most weather. Those are the 3 major areas where we have used them. After that, deep learning actually really picked up. It's primarily used by Netflix, Spotify, a lot of recommendation engines. There's so much really being done in this particular area. In the last couple of years, something else actually really started really happening. That is generative AI. It started disrupting 3 different assets. One is text in the form of a chat as an interface. And that actually we have seen on ChatGPT, Google Bard. There are many other infrastructures which actually really popped up. Then we have these images, which is what we have seen with Midjourney, or you really look at Stable Diffusion or DALL-E. Now, on top of it, we also have seen a bunch of videos which you can really generate with generative AI at a level we have never seen. But this is disrupting Hollywood, but it's also disrupting the whole gaming industry from a different zone. Now, based on this, right before I Am Phenom, like a night before actually, I thought about like, hey, why can't we write a song using a generative AI? Because one of my sales leaders, who's Mike Vesper, gave me an idea saying, like, hey, somebody actually created a song based on a concept, what they really thought about. So my thought process is, can I write a song on Phenom, phenomenology, purpose of life, help a billion find the right job, which is the purpose of Phenom. So Phenom is nothing but being phenomenal at what you're really doing. Being unique, being authentic is what that means. Phenomenology is a word actually. What it means is it's a study of human experiences and human perception, which is what creates our reality and which is what constructs our world in a different point of view. And that leads to a purpose of life, which is why you exist. And if you can connect to really a greater purpose of creating an impact, which is nothing but helping a billion people find the right job. So I gave this to ChatGPT and I got this as an answer within like less than 5 seconds. So I got a complete set of a song, and which is basically written with a bridge, with a chorus, with an ending, and all that stuff. I thought like it's amazing. I, as a person, can't write a song. That was not my forte or competency in my life. Now, what happened with that is I actually went to Devin, who works in our marketing, and I asked him, hey, can you turn this into actually a video song with any of the famous musicians out there or some who's a great artist? And he said, like, what do you mean by that? And then we really got into, he came out after 15 minutes, said like, hey, can I do something with Snoop Dogg? Okay, let's go, let's give a shot. And this is what has happened.
Oh, Phenom, you're the one. The two. To unlock the mysteries of it. Find your purpose, make it shine. Help a billion people find their right job just in time. That fits their skills and heart. Let's make a difference. Let's start with Phenom by your side. You'll find what you can provide. Phenomenology. But what a way to understand your life each day. Find your purpose, make it shine. Help a billion people find the right job and feel fine. That fits their skills and heart. Let's make a difference. Let's start with Phenom and phenomenology. We can change the world, make it better. You see, let's help a billion people find their place in a job that will bring them grace. Find your purpose, make it shine. Help a billion people find their right jobs in no time that fits their skills and heart. Let's make a difference. Let's start. Phenom, oh Phenom. Phenomenology. Let's make a song. Let's find our purpose. Let's make a change. Together we can. Let's rearrange. Phenomenology. We ain't changing. Let's come together. Let's go far. With a purpose in our heart and a job that fits. A billion people can make their mark and find their bliss.
So if you see here, this whole thing happened in less than 6 hours of time. You can generate a video. You actually can really turn that into something as a song, and you can also generate a complete set using a different artists in their voice. And that kind of an impact you have never seen before. And what does this mean? This actually means most of the knowledge workers' jobs are going to be questionable. So how ChatGPT really generates this? That is a bigger question what you need to really think about. And what it uses is something called as a reasonable continuum. A reasonable continuum is nothing but it actually really looks at what is the sentence you are trying to construct, and it tries to predict what the next word can be. And the way it tries to predict is by using the internet data, what is there, how words are really assembled together, and how the structure of the language is, which particular language it is using, and what it is really making out of it. And if you really see this particular sentence, the best thing about AI is its ability to, what's the next word can be. And it actually really predicts from a format of, hey, learn is about like 4.5% chance that that's the next word, or predict or make or whatever it is. So it actually really do computation on the fly and gives you a perspective about what the next words are. If you really look at English language, in a dictionary, you have over 600,000 words. And 40,000 words are most commonly used. And if you really think about permutations and combinations of what the next word can be, you have close to 1 trillion combinations. That's why a large language model, which is what is the core backend of a generative AI, primarily driven by how much compute you have in the backend. And that's why OpenAI or Google Bar actually are really investing a lot on really creating this cloud infrastructure. Now, but where is this internet data is constructed towards? The internet data today is actually have a particular leaning, especially towards North America. So that's where most of the language is actually picked in LLM models. So this can create a humongous bias extremely on every spot. There is a lot of topic right now. Can you create LLM models by each particular country or a culture? Because if you think about history, history is actually created by the narrative. And the narrative from whose perspective? Every particular thing has a multiple narratives. If you really build everything from one narrative, it is what you call it as a bias. So that is the biggest thing, what is really going on in the market today. Now, because of that, like if you think about Eskimos, they have 20 words for snow. In general, people don't even know, like, why do you need 20 words? It's because if you live with it so long, you really create a particular structure. If you take Silicon Valley, you have probably more than 200 words for AI. It's because of what the structure you really think about. All tech founders or tech industry in general really use this language quite often. It's because that's where you primarily lean towards. Now, ChatGPT, if you think about, is infringement, is it like infringement free? It's up to you to really think about how to use what comes out of ChatGPT. That's what you constantly have to think, what you're using it for, how you're using it, and how you make sure your enterprise don't have any kind of issues. Now, you think about EU has come up with a lot of laws in the last couple of years, and they're not really slowing down. GDPR is a good thing. It's actually making certain part of the world to really make sure we take into considerations of people in multiple different formats. And now in US, we are seeing this across every particular state. We have a different law really popping up saying like what needs to be really done. It's all because of privacy, freedom are the two most important things which you have to put in perspective, making sure people are not really going through a complex bias, which we as humans can, we're doing it already. So how do we eliminate that using AI? So AI regulation could be like a nuclear regulation, where you have a lot of restrictions because it has a potential of disrupting at a different level. And the most important thing is it's going to amplify human ability in a very unique format. In that, a restriction is a good thing, and you basically put a lot of regulation is also a good thing. So generative AI has a potential to disrupt industries, many, many different types of industries, from education to legal to consulting to tech to HR. There is a lot of disruption which we will see in this particular space. Now, but adoption of this technology, especially AI adoption, varies by each particular industry differently. And each particular worker is actually utilizing it differently. And they're really falling into different work zones. What we really felt was we are seeing something, a very unique substance called as work zones, which are nothing but to do a type of work, how much preparation you need, the lowest to the highest, the extensive preparation versus almost to the no preparation. And that's where zone 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 actually falls into the picture. And in the last 18 months, we have seen close to over 50 million jobs in our own platform actually pass through these zones. On top of it, we also have seen closely 1 billion people actually really move between these zones for applying jobs or being an employee or a recruiter or a manager or people who are interviewing. And we try to understand what are they really doing and what really are connecting them in a very unique format. And we understood there is a magic loop for talent ecosystem. And the magic loop primarily consists of what to automate so that people in the ecosystem can be productive. The second thing what we looked at is intelligence. How can you personalize people based on context? And the third one is what is the experience you deliver so that you empower human beings for what they're supposed to do. Now, the work zones actually have really created a very unique perspective from a point of view which needs automation and which needs intelligence. Zone 1 and 2 are primarily oriented towards automation. It's all about productivity. Zone 4 and 5 are primarily oriented towards intelligence. It's all about context. This is happening across every industry right now in multiple formats. If you take zone 1 and 2, automation and productivity are the two most crucial things. Now, we believe for zone 1 and 2 areas where you will see a cobot for almost every job you really do today in the market. Example is, if you go to Amazon fulfillment centers, 3 years back, Amazon used to pack 100 boxes, 120 boxes per hour with an error rate of 1 in 100. After 3 years, they deployed in the process of what you call as computer vision technology, where they can really see what size of item has to be packed and which box has to be picked. To really do that, they actually started really giving signals saying like, hey, for this box, this is the pack what you have to really pick. With that kind of an automation, what they really got with the human and the machine is almost like 280 items can be boxed per hour. That means your productivity has gone up more than 100%. And your error rate actually dropped down 1 in 200. That means your error rate actually plummeted by 50%. So that is what a human and the machine together can really do. And now this we are seeing across in every particular industry, not just in this particular zone. You're seeing in what you call as auto industry. You're also seeing in specifically in all the industries, specifically logistics, where you can track everything at every point. And zone 4 and 5, it's all about intelligence and what is the context you can really deliver. Look at like what's happening with zone 1 and 2 is, can you really create a co-pilot for almost every job, which is a knowledge worker? And this is happening in oncology for a very long time. Almost every oncologist gives you a chemo dosage based on an algorithm which has been running for the last 10, 15 years. The same thing is going on right now with GitPilot Copilot, GitHub Copilot, which is the Microsoft version. There are many other products in this particular space making the developer more productive. And the same thing is happening in drug discovery. So what is happening in the market is the AI tools are actually leaning towards specialists more than generalists, which is what is going on in the market today. So the labor markets are becoming more specialized than ever. So right now, AI is just an assistant. It's not yet at a spot where it can make critical decisions. That's what is the most important thing. Now, the markets are changing dramatically, I would say. Cool. So what we thought about this is, can we really create something called as Phenom X+, which is creating Phenom's unique generative AI infrastructure, which we call as ensemble AI, which is what we actually created as a product. What's the difference between a generative AI versus an ensemble AI? The generative AI is much more structured towards a consumer, and it is actually oriented towards creating a prompt and information. What we really created is an ensemble approach, and information plus context is what really creates insights. So let's get into the product demo to really start with.
Hi, everyone. My name is Maggie Allen. I'm the VP of Solution Consulting here at Phenom. As Mahe mentioned, we are living in a new world where generative AI can show us a massive amount of time savings and increased quality, much like becoming a singer-songwriter in the matter of seconds, right? Let's now talk though about how hiring managers can use this experience with X Plus today. So let's say I'm a hiring manager. Something happened in my organization where I need to fill a role immediately. I could be backfilling, it could be growth in my department, but where do I go? What do I do? Where do I start? Now I used to start with emailing or slacking HR, and they would say, Maggie, make a job description, we'll go from there. My number one job as a manager, though, is to attract great talent. And that starts with a great job description. So I do what every hiring manager does, and I go to Google or I quickly now go to ChatGPT, and I think that's going to fix everything. But it's not, because it's not contextualized or personalized to the organization that I'm running. It's about the same as copying and pasting for this to work. So now that we have X Plus, my new best friend here, I'm going to go ahead and pull up my hiring manager app. As soon as I do so, I hit add job recommendation or job requisition, and I start really just filling out the title I'm looking for. Immediately here, X Plus goes to work and is trained exclusively on our team, so it has context. All of that from previous job postings, current gaps in my team, like critical skills that are missing from my team. It creates a carefully constructed job description that incorporates all my needs, talks about me, my team, my culture, and what job I'm trying to fill here. 3 seconds, it's done. Time saved, high quality, unbiased, contextualized job description is ready for me to review. So next usually comes an intake meeting. And this X Plus is also helping with additional insights and helps jumpstart that process with me so I can figure out what a great fit looks like. The chat comes up and it's suggesting ideal candidates based on who's working, who was working in this role, and who I almost hired last time, like my good friend Kathy. X Plus is telling me what skills my team is missing so we can attract the right people with those skills to apply to the job. It's also suggesting that this role might not need to be remote anymore. So yeah, I want to go ahead and make this hybrid. X Plus shows criteria that's constructing the full job description. It's also suggesting new criteria like skills that I should be considering in this role and anything else I need to add. Finally, I accept. My job is done and it only took a couple minutes. From here, though, I'm going to share and send this over to my good friend Eitan, who's going to be showcasing the recruiter experience next.
Like with Phenom X Plus. Being a recruiter can be quite challenging at times. Recruiters oftentimes are in situations where they have 30 open positions simultaneously. And this means having to search, screen, respond, forward, schedule, reschedule, all at the same time. So it can get quite hectic, right? So let's see how Phenom X Plus can actually help us be much more effective, efficient, and even at sometimes creative. All right, so let's say I log into my CRM, and right there at that point, I get a notification saying, hey, you've been assigned to a new job, and there are already 260 leads that are matching this position. So I click through, and then I see all of those candidates that were matched to this position automatically using the matching criteria. This can take quite some time to go through and decide which candidate would be the best fit. But luckily, X Plus is there to help me. So what I do is I simply open the chat and I type in, show me the top 50 candidates. And right there, X Plus is able to filter them down, but also offer a bit of insight that is contextual for me and my organization. As you can see, several have worked for a competitor. Others are just likely to respond because they've recently visited my career site or engaged with my content. And others mentioned adaptability in their recent video or recent interview, which is highly relevant for this specific position. So I'm going to go with people or candidates that have mentioned adaptability in the interview. And right there, I spot Jane. So I click on her profile, and here I can see she has over 10 years of experience in marketing. That's perfect. She also has a proven track record in growth or revenue growth. And also I can see that she has all of the skills I need for this specific position. I'm going to contact her. So I'm going to click contact. And here we have a really effective way for doing so. What you can see here is that we are taking in that context and generating a personalized email for Jane. This process takes in various things like Jane's profile, her interests, the job opportunity itself, and it takes all of that and then it's synthesizing that into the ideal outreach message. But this is not the end of it. I can also customize, and I can simply go in and say, I'd like to customize the section of the message that talks about the opportunity. Right here, Phenom X Plus allows me to drill down into specific candidate insights and leverage them into this message. I can emphasize specific elements that will make this message much more effective and increase my chances to engage Jane. So this is awesome. But this is just the beginning. We're also working on additional models that will not also do outreach, but also ones that will do decline, follow-up, offer, and schedule. And in the case of decline, for instance, injecting the evaluation feedback that you have given on a candidate and integrate that, of course, in a safe manner into the email so candidates get a highly personalized, highly contextual email as if it was written by a human. So once I've done that and message were sent, now it's time to stay on top of my inbox and reply to any incoming messages that might be coming from messages. After all, this is what recruiters have to do on a regular basis. So this here, Phenom X Plus also can is there to help me. When a candidate sends a message, I can instantly reply and call our Phenom X Plus to generate a response for me. In this case, I'd like to generate a scheduling reply and help have Phenom X Plus actually take over the entire scheduling process. This saves an enormous amount of time. And you can imagine what effect this has when you apply this to a huge number of candidates that you need to interact with on a daily basis. And this is just scratching the surface. What if during this process, I realize that I don't have enough candidates in my pipeline and I want to gather more leads or generate more applications? I can simply go to Phenom X Plus and say, create a campaign for marketing jobs in Philadelphia. I hit enter. And what Phenom X Plus does is that it's able to leverage generative AI, craft an email instantly, and also personalize it for different groups, past applicants, alumni, and early talent. All of this is done instantly and effectively. Thank you. And now, to see what Phenom X Plus can help with talent marketing, I'd like to invite Lindsay.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Lindsay, our Vice President of Strategy here at Phenom, and I'm here to walk you through the journey of a talent marketer, which Eitan gave us a really great start. Now I want to guide you through how Ensemble AI provided by X Plus helps me as a recruitment marketer to hypercharge the content creation experience. So as a recruitment marketer, from a single platform, I can create, edit, and track the progress of all of my experiences across hiring and keeping talent engaged, from that of the candidate, employees, and even alumni from a single studio. But a single experience, of course, is just the beginning. Based on always-on analysis of candidate signals, I'm always provided suggestions for high-impact content that I can create, from videos, blogs, articles, to even full-on landing pages. Now, speaking of landing pages, we have a variety of marketing jobs available. So I've been charged with creating a landing page to educate top marketing talent of the phenomenal experience in store for them, and I need to do it fast. Now, traditionally, I would spend a ton of time scouring through images, fussing with layout, and collaborating with multiple team members to think through content. So here, insert X+, where a click of a button renders for me a complete draft of a multifaceted landing page, including testimonials from employees, case studies, industry trends, and of course, recommended jobs. Even the SEO is automated with X+. But of course, I still stay in the driver's seat and have the ability to adjust the layout entirely all the way down to the specific content. So this page is already generated for me, but as I'm reviewing, I see an image that I would like to swap. Now, rather than at this point scouring through my massive library for the right image, I simply leave the job up to X+, providing the general vibe that I'm looking for, and then allowing it, the Ensemble AI, to select, source, and populate an image that is just right for me. So now, whether I'm a team of one in the recruitment marketing department or someone that has very little experience in terms of content marketing, this design studio, leveraging Phenom X, curates both layout and content for me that can help me to quickly and effectively elevate the candidate experience. So now that we've walked through how X+ can help to create a bespoke candidate experience facilitated by seamless content creation, I'd like to turn it over to Sebastian.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Sebastian Niewöhner. I'm head of video product here at Phenom. And in this session, I would like to introduce interview intelligence and really explain you how Phenom X+ will help you to reinvent the ways interviews are conducted within your organization. But before we do that, let's have a look and see how today's interview process is actually broken. And the technology and the new hybrid workplaces have really changed the way organizations interview talent nowadays. Over 85% of all interviews are now conducted via a video or a phone call, and this is also here to stay. But over the last 30 years, the only thing that has really changed is the medium. So we went from an on-site interview to a digital interview. But interviewing candidates is still the most time-consuming part of the entire hiring process. And when we just look at a couple of numbers here, on average, it takes 23 days to interview candidates. There's on average 4 interview rounds before a hiring decision is actually made. And after each and every interview round, candidates need to wait up to 5 days to actually get feedback. And that's a lot of time where candidates can be approached by other competitors and other companies. And the problem is that organizations don't have any idea why this process really takes so long. There's almost no data, there's no metrics and no insights, because the entire candidate experience or the entire interview experience today is a big black box. And the only thing that organizations and managers actually get out of interviews today is primarily handwritten notes and opinions. And based on this rather poor data, very important hiring decisions need to be made. And because of this, today's interview process really poses great risk in terms of a low quality of hire, low retention because candidates are leaving early and you made the wrong decision in the beginning. Also within the interview process, a high candidate drop-off, and also compliance issues when interviewers are really asking illegal questions and actually not knowing what is happening in the interview process really slows down the pace of improvement that organizations can tackle. And when we got all this feedback from our customers and we tried to reinvent the ways interviews are currently being conducted, we were also asking ourselves, or we were also identifying that a lot of industry domains are currently shifting and changing. As Mahe has said in the beginning, conversational intelligence is really disrupting a lot of different industries. And we were asking ourselves, why don't we use conversational intelligence and large language models to actually also optimize the entire interview process and help interviewers, hiring managers, and recruiters to work together a lot more effectively. And because of this, we are introducing interview intelligence, which actually allows organizations and interviewers to capture any conversation within the entire interview process, capture all the important context, and then allow hiring teams to effectively collaborate. And before we dive into a live demo of this solution, let's quickly look at what interview intelligence is all about. Interview intelligence consists of three very important pillars. On the one hand side, interview structure and recording, which will help you and your organizations to actually prepare your interviewers to know exactly what questions to ask and to do a right job. Then hiring team collaboration. So how can hiring teams and interviewers effectively collaborate and make the right hiring decisions together? And the third pillar is really interview coaching and guidance. So how can interview intelligence really help you as an organization to scale up and ramp up your interviewers to enhance the skill set in the organization? And with that being said, let's dive into the product and see what interview intelligence looks in reality. So imagine we are a hiring manager and normally we have a lot of back-to-back meetings and we don't have time to actually prepare for an interview. Now with interview intelligence, I will be prompted that an interview is going to happen and I can join my own personalized preparation room. And in this preparation room, Phenom X Plus will help to create an automated summary of this candidate and everything that has happened so far within this interview and application process. In addition, any previous conversation, let it be an HR interview or a pre-recorded video assessment video interview, will be accessible for me as a hiring manager. And I also get to see all the feedback from my previous, from the previous reviewers. And this really helps to fully understand what has been discussed with this candidate in the past. And I, as a hiring manager, will make sure that I'm not asking the same question over and over again and can really catch up where my colleagues left off. In addition, an interview guide will provide me a clear structure of what questions I need to ask. And very important here, Phenom X Plus solves a very important role. What we see here is an interview guide that is predefined by the organization. But because we have the entire context, Phenom X Plus also suggests additional questions based on the candidate's CV or based on previous conversations. So let's say here, for example, in the video assessment, the candidate gave an answer that can be followed up on. And I, as an interviewer, can easily add these questions to the interview guide. And with that, I'm fully prepared to actually join the interview. Once I do this, let's again look at what an interview looked like in the past. In the past, I, as an interviewer, I had multiple screens connected to access the CV information and all the notes I kind of took on a piece of paper. But we all know that listening to the conversation and to the candidate while actually being distracted and writing down notes is almost impossible. And with interview intelligence, the hiring manager can now fully focus on the conversation. Once everybody joins the conversation, the call is automatically recorded and transcribed, and I can really listen to the candidate here. On the right-hand side, we have the interview assistant, the interview companion app, which provides me all the questions that I have been prepped on. And whenever I want to save a very important moment in the conversation, or there was a red flag that I want to revisit at a later point in time, I don't have to remember this. I can, with a click of a button, very simple, mark this moment as a positive moment and say the last 45 seconds I really want to attach. And with this one-click action, I can remember this in the future and I have an easy way to revisit this. On the other side, the candidate profile is directly accessible. And once I'm done with the conversation, Phenom X Plus does a very important job for me as well. In the Insights tab, I see all the main topics that have been discussed, and the entire call as well is transcribed, and I can make my personal adjustments if needed. And as I'm normally having a back-to-back meeting and I don't have time to really write down the follow-up actions, Phenom X Plus automatically identifies all the follow-up actions, and I know exactly what to do after, which will also help to really speed up the candidate communication, and very important tasks are no longer missed. So here we saw how interview intelligence really helps me as an interviewer to do a better job. And once I actually want to provide my evaluation and want to continue, there's a very important second ingredient here. 2 days later, I will need to provide feedback to this specific candidate because I was not able to do it immediately. And with interview intelligence, I no longer have to recall this conversation. I can actually replay the conversation. So again, directly integrated into the CM, I as an interviewer, I get to see the entire recording of the conversation. And I also have everything transcribed and see all my previous comments and notes directly attached here. In addition, I can also communicate with my coworkers. So I can share this interview with someone else who was not part of the conversation, which really helps to collaborate and also reduce the number of interview rounds that are needed because multiple people can go in here and provide their feedback. In addition, Phenom X Plus automatically summarizes the conversation as we have seen before, and also especially important for someone who has not been part of the conversation, it automatically detects all the questions asked by the hiring team and the ones by the candidate. So it's very easy to review the entire conversation and to also find the information that you might have missed during the interview itself. On the right-hand side, the conversational intelligence will also give you insights on how many minutes the candidate talked, how many minutes the interviewer talked, and also additional insights in terms of talking speed and number of interruptions, really give interviewers a sense of personal improvement, and you get to see how you can do better in the next interview round. We talked about the comments, so the hiring team can really collaborate here. And once I'm done and reviewed the entire interview, I can provide my evaluation. And once I submit my evaluation, the entire evaluation of the team is accessible. And this will really help to make hiring team collaboration very efficient and to give candidates feedback in just a couple of days and not just a week or 2 weeks later. So this is the hiring team collaboration aspect. But when we change perspectives and we put ourselves into the shoes of a TA leader or a CHO, their number one job is really to make sure we have highly skilled interviewers in the organization, which are able to identify the top talent very easily, but also that are actually able to sell the candidate on the job. And that's where, because now all the conversations are actually captured, interview intelligence and Phenom X Plus also make a very, very big step forward. And what we see here now is the new training module. And as a manager, I now get all and full insights into all my interviewers and their dedicated performance conversational performance. So who was talking for how many minutes? What is their talking speed? What is their sentiment? And I get to see this in this dashboard for over 54 interviews, or around about more than 50 interviewers here. And with a click of a button, Phenom X Plus will actually help me to identify my interviewers in the organization that need to be trained. And when we look at Eleanor, for example, she, in a call yesterday, asked an illegal question. And until today, this question would have remained completely unnoticed in the organization, which bears a very high risk for compliance issues. But now, with interview intelligence and Phenom X Plus, I, as a manager, get immediately notified about this, and I can provide immediate feedback. And actually, when providing feedback with the respective sequence of the interview in place, feedback is highly efficient, and it's a very easy and very effective way to scale up your interviewers and to really enhance the candidate experience throughout the entire interview journey. That's kind of the third pillar of interview intelligence. And with that being said, I'm handing it over to Kumar to talk about talent intelligence and the new product that we are going to offer here.
Done? All right, so now you saw some of the innovation that we've been doing on the talent acquisition space. And today we are going to switch gears a little bit and talk about what this looks like from a talent management perspective. We have a lot of capabilities that we've built from a talent management side, leveraging the power of our platform and underscoring it with some of the AI capabilities to solve meaningful problems. But let's take a look at what problems we are hearing out there. We constantly see that the employee loyalty is declining year over year. And this has been a global phenomenon. If you look at why employees leave their organizations, the number one reason that you see is the lack of career advancements, right? So you see others, but this is the most pressing thing. When you look at the employee perspective, there is no place for them to go and share their aspirations. That's a missing gap in enterprises today. And if you look at the data that's available to organizations about their employees, it's dated. Maybe they have a resume of the employee when they joined the company, but they have employees updating their LinkedIn profiles and social profiles more than internal profiles. And honestly, the tools have not been built to support employees to really go and spend the time updating their profile, sharing their aspirations, and telling the organization what they are good at, because there is no value for them to doing that. We've been speaking with a lot of our customers, and every company is rethinking what their strategy needs to be for talent retention and growth. And we hear two key threads, so to speak. The first one is career pathing. How do you enable your employees to really look at potential opportunities within the organization, figure out where they stand with respect to those opportunities, what gaps they have, and how can they grow and close those gaps to get that next job. And the second interesting aspect that we are hearing a lot is a skills-first approach. A lot of organizations are talking about transforming their entire talent ecosystem to a skill-first approach, a skill-based hiring, a skill-based retention and growth strategy. But the way it is approached today is a little bit different. Today, if you look at how it's done, talent management meets with every department in the organization, identifies the key functional roles within that department, identifies what skills and competencies are typically associated to these critical roles, maybe comes out with a proficiency framework and really publishes that framework to a manager. And this process repeats for every single department. But here is the problem. This process is extremely laborious. To complete this exercise for a 20,000 person organization, it takes close to 2 years. And what's interesting is managers don't know what to do about this framework. They have a framework in front of them, but when should they have a conversation with the employee? How should they grow? That becomes a challenge. And the most important trend that we've seen is these career architectures are becoming obsolete extremely quickly. So you do this whole exercise and you're ready to launch some sort of an internal career growth, and your teams are saying that the skill set is no longer valid and that needs to be rethought of. And where all of this is happening, employees still don't have visibility into their career opportunities. They don't have a way to express their aspirations, and they move on. And when you really think of when you really know the source of truth between what a role is and what a skill is, it's when, let's say, your hiring manager wanted to open a requisition yesterday. Maybe a recent hire came into the team where the profile is a lot more updated, or maybe during an annual review process where employees are updating their profiles to showcase where they've learned some new skills. Another interesting thing that we've also seen on our platform is based on the tenure of the employee, it's important to figure out what capabilities to offer to employees to facilitate their retention and growth. Somebody who's newly joined may not need an immediate next job recommendation, but need more networking or upskilling kind of recommendations. So that's also a very important aspect of how we need to think about retention and growth. So from our perspective, we all see that HR is demanding proactivity. How do we understand employee aspirations better? How do we detect early warnings? How can we use the data that we have to intelligently coach all cross-functional teams? And how do we facilitate real-time collaboration? That's what we are missing today, and that's what we want to build. So today, we are introducing what we call as intelligence for talent management. It's a triad between your employee experience, your HR talent managers, and your managers to facilitate the employee retention and growth strategies and bring it back to life. But more importantly, it's important to get all the data into one common platform and let modern technologies, AI models, to really understand patterns and drive unique insights throughout your experiences. So we've taken some of the best practices that we've had with talent acquisition, where we understood the communication and the collaboration between a candidate, a recruiter, and a manager, and what data and intelligence gets generated through this interaction, and really taking the same best practice approaches to the talent management space. So talent intelligence really covers a lot. So we cover the employee experience, we'll cover a lot of HR experience today, and we'll talk a little bit about the manager experience. So let's quickly make a quick transition to what that looks like from a product perspective. Right? So what you're seeing here today is the employee experience. So here's an employee career site. An employee comes in, logs into the platform, and automatically starts to see recommendations. Depending on the tenure of the employee, the relationship, the role they are in, the recommendations are completely tailored. So here, Donna is logging in. She is already being recommended connection with mentors, because maybe she has a skill gap towards some of the roles that she's looking at, and a mentor can come in and help. She's new in the organization, so there are some recommendations on other people that she can meet and form those connections to grow her network. Or maybe pick up a gig because she's just starting into the position, she's learning a lot. Maybe she has a little bit more time and she can help some other teams and sharpen her skills as well. The platform also allows employees to come in and look at all job opportunities, really refer their friends into the organization. So anybody new who's joining, they can come in and refer friends. The platform supports all of those capabilities. Here's mentoring. So employees can go in and find their mentor based on the skill and connect with them and see if they can pick up some mentoring opportunities there. We offer learning integration. So you could have all your learning platforms all integrated into one single employee experience that allows employees to come in, look at, let's say, courses that offer specialized skills, take those courses, and our platform can automatically recognize some of those activity and enrich employee profiles by all this happening in the network. And similarly, the platform offers gig capability that allows employees to go in, take certain gigs, complete certain tasks, and really upscale organically instead of really going in and updating their profile. But having said that, the profile is also very important to the whole functioning of this platform. So here you can see this is Donna's profile, and it gives a quick summary of what the profile looks like. Donna has the ability to just upload a new resume, for example, connect through LinkedIn, or really go in and start looking at what the aspirations look like, right? So this could be something about Donna or some goals that needs to be only visible to her or be public. But what we've also seen is really the skills, right? So there are certain skills that Donna would have had, which are self-reported. Some of them are endorsed through managers, endorsed through peers. The platform allows every employee to really state their skills and also provide capabilities for employees to really go after creating endorsements. So employees can request for skill endorsements with their managers, with their peers, and all that is completely handled within the ecosystem. So now the skills are updated. Donna has been in the company for a few years, and now she's looking to grow within the organization. Depending on her skills, her competencies, the platform automatically suggests certain common career paths that other employees have taken in the organization. So here, Donna can select certain roles, her next role, the most popular further next transition roles as well, and really get a sense of where she stands against those paths. You can see the skill gaps and the competency gaps all highlighted here. You can also see really what educational background, for example, that people have in those specific roles, what paths people have taken from that particular role. That gives a good sense of what opportunities are out there and how she can further grow within the organization. So this is all about the employee experience. So let's quickly switch gears into the second persona, which is the manager experience. So the HR business partner or an HR experience really is logging into this new platform called the Employee Relationship Management Platform, ERM, right? So this is a platform that provides complete visibility of the company talent all in one spot. Here, I'm an HRBP logging in, and I can see every employee in the organization, any new hires that came in recently, employees who've quit, maybe there are open requisitions that are out there, candidates from CRM perspective, all the roles that I have in the system, the job profiles. You can see everything from an org perspective and some insights about each specific organization. I can also see critical roles within the organization. So this could be one of the roles that I'm looking at. It's a critical role, hard to hire. There's a little bit of a low retention issue there. So when I go into that particular role, you'll already see a 360-degree view of the role, right? So you can see all the employees that are a part of that particular org. You can see all the skills. And this is where the magic happens. These skills are not manually created. It's all generated through AI. So we can look at all the open requisitions and the skills that are listed on those requisitions. Any recent hires that you've made to the team, those skills really get ingested. Recruiter priorities, managers doing succession planning, all this activity is centrally managed in one data ecosystem that can dynamically build a skill framework for you to manage your organization. So this is how we really fast track your go-to-market of, let's say, a career pathing, a succession planning to your organization, where we can create a baseline, but still let you annotate what this framework looks like and roll this out to your org. So you can add a skill, you can delete a skill if you don't think that's the right signal, and even really bring in your competencies and your proficiency levels into the equation. Our AI models have the ability to ingest these data points and serve recommendations to employees depending on what competencies they have on their profile against target roles and as such. You can already see what possible progressions are possible on the back end. So this is an HRBP coming in, taking a look at all possible transitions that the AI is recommending, and also take a look at what the skill gaps and competency gaps are between the two roles, right? So it gives you that 360-degree view. We can import role descriptions and job profile descriptions from your HCM and parse that out as well. You may have a lot of open requisitions that are related to this particular role or job profile, so you can have and see those correlations. And we can even detect successors for those particular roles based on a skills-first approach. So now I've seen this critical role, and I have a meeting with one of the business leaders, and I'm going to filter my dashboard to Will's team. So I see Will has 10 employees. And here X Plus is popping out, and it's saying, hey, how can I help you? It looks like you're looking at one specific team. It has the context of key highlights and other things that it can bring up. So let's say I'm interested in key highlights. I already see that X Plus is looking at all the data for Will's team and generating certain key insights. I see that Donna is in a critical role, but she's a flight risk. I can take a look at Donna's profile. Now you can see what Donna is all about, where she sits, what her aspirations are, what skills she has, how many of them are endorsed, any recommendations she's had from other peers or managers. And most importantly, I'll be able to visualize the aspiration. Is she looking to grow in the organization? Has she set certain career paths? What are the skills that are required for that particular role, and what are her gaps? Is she taking any courses? Is she learning and adding skills to her profile? Maybe she took some gigs, things like that. Gives you a good overview of what the profile looks like and what Donna is doing from a growth perspective, right? If Donna is looking for jobs, you can start to visualize what activity is happening on Donna's profile too. With internal mobility on the employee experience, Donna can go in and apply to certain jobs, and you can already start to see what jobs she is viewing, what jobs she applied to, and any alerts that she may have set, or even take a look at all the referred candidates that she brought in the organization. Most importantly, succession is critical for making sure Donna can grow. So this is an area where HRBP can come in, take a look at all profiles within the organization that can potentially be best successors for Donna. And the AI is automatically recommending best fit candidates for this particular role. And if Donna is not a part of any succession plan, the platform also suggests adding Donna to certain succession plans as well. So now I've looked at a particular profile, a particular team, found some insights. But let's say if I want to look at the entire landscape from an entire team perspective, a larger team, a larger department, so I can take a look at that and get similar insights. But here, X Plus can really pop in and say, okay, how can I help you? Can I give you some more insights? So let's say I'm not looking for some of the standard options, but I want to identify future leaders in this particular team. And the platform can already automatically identify every person, what the skill sets are, how close are they from a leadership potential perspective, and start to bring in recommendations. So one of the recommendations that X Plus is doing here is to start an upskill plan. So I can start the upskilling project as an HRBP to say, all right, I'm going to start this process. I'm going to try and identify employees within the organization that could potentially have the skill or can develop that skill so that I can move them to meaningful roles. So I can start the upskilling project. And one of the first things that we need to do is sometimes we don't have context of the whole data. So maybe certain employees have not updated the profile. Can we just click a campaign to go to employees to go and update their profile, right? I can identify all the team managers who are responsible for this whole upskilling initiative and add them to my initiative. The system can also recommend what skills to include based on the gaps that we've identified. There's opportunity to select certain learning courses as a part of the initiative package. You can do that. You can skip that as well. And finally launch this particular initiative. Now your managers and teams will get all the initiatives assigned to them, and they can facilitate that growth. And a few weeks later, we can come in and take a look at what is the progress from an initiative perspective, right? So we have a bunch of initiatives that we've launched and certain skills that are trending, certain employees who are really taking those courses, picking up those gigs, talking to mentors, adding their skills to their profile. And it gives you a good sense of how the skills are trending within your organization so that you can do more meaningful workforce planning. So this is all about the HRBP experience. And finally, there's a manager experience that allows managers to really log in, take a look at their teams, really look at individuals, assign certain initiatives to these individuals, and really track the progress, even on one-on-one meetings, where here the platform is recommending certain topics to talk about in their one-on-one meetings about upskilling initiatives, capture certain notes, look at what learning the employee is doing overall from a manager perspective, and even do proper succession planning. So all this is built into the manager experience that provides a great view to managers to help facilitate employee retention and growth. So you've seen a lot of the capabilities from a native AI perspective and generative AI for the employee, the HRBP persona, and the managers that we've built into the ecosystem. So I know that was a lot, but with that, I'd like to hand it over to Adam, who's going to walk us through some of the innovation that's happening on the automation side.
Awesome. Thank you, Kumar. I'm Adam Thompson. I lead up our high volume hiring solution. I think when a lot of people hear high volume hiring, it could mean a lot of things to a lot of different types of companies. For some of you, it might mean needing to hire thousands of workers for a seasonal hiring push. It might mean kind of always on, we hire thousands or hundreds of people for a particular role type. But on the other extreme, it might also mean that you've got some really attractive roles. And when you post them, you might get flooded with applicants for that really specialized, attractive type of position. So whatever high volume hiring means to you, Phenom can help you solve it. I would say regardless of what it means to you, it's all about quickly engaging, screening, interviewing, and hiring candidates into open positions. And I think we can all agree that that is absolutely critical to our company's success. By the way, we're seeing that on average, a qualified applicant is going to apply to somewhere between 25 to 50 jobs within the first week of being on the job hunt. And often it takes 3 to 5 days to get back in touch with those qualified applicants. And even longer sometimes to let them know, for those candidates that did get an interview, how it went and whether or not you want to move forward with them. I'm going to skip through to keep us on track from a time perspective, just to throw out some quick examples. For companies like Southwest Airlines, it might mean needing to hire ramp agents in Denver and in Dallas, two very, very different types of markets. For Bright Horizons, it might mean needing to hire thousands of qualified teachers to staff their centers. For a company like Bon Secours, it might mean nurses and inpatient specialists to help staff their hospitals. Can definitely be different types of permutations for different companies. No matter what, as a hiring manager, a recruiter, or maybe a coordinator, what I can do within Phenom now is come in, view all the different types of positions that I'm responsible for, and even create new jobs. Of course, maybe that in-store hiring manager, you don't want them to be able to post the next CFO position for your company. So we can, of course, map and make only available roles that it would be appropriate for that individual to be able to post. Let's go with a role like a shift leader for this example. Within the back end, there's a lot of different templates that can be created so that you can put in place different types of guardrails for what you want a hiring manager or recruiter to be able to edit about a specific position. For example, maybe you don't want an individual hiring manager to change a job description or something like that. But you would want them maybe to say, is this a part-time or full-time role? Maybe what the shifts are for this position, and perhaps even a justification for why this new role needs to be hired for, so that all of that can be tracked within your analytics. Again, just to say it, the different fields you're seeing here, purely examples. Different fields can be added for different types of roles. Once that hiring manager is ready, they can post that position. Instantly would appear on your Phenom career site and pushed out through XML feeds to lots of different job boards that you could have selected. And of course, that person wants to stay up to date on what's happening with their role, so they can either stay informed by logging into the system or through SMS or email. As a candidate, I could have either chosen to use SMS, WhatsApp, career site, or a chatbot on the career site to help match to that new role that was just posted. I can come in, learn more about the company through interactive videos, really easy selection to find the type of position I'm looking for, and even location-based matching for those of you that have multiple locations within the same area. And there's that distance-based matching. Now, from there, once I select a position that I'm interested in, different types of workflows can be built out within the Phenom environment. So those workflows can be built out for different regions, different job categories, maybe remote versus on-site roles, or full-time versus part-time positions. Really, any way that you might want to craft different types of experiences and workflows for candidates, Phenom can support. And through any of those channels that I mentioned earlier, SMS, WhatsApp, career site, chatbot, I could either be going through a full hosted apply or a really quick expression of interest flow. Just depends on what your needs are. We can capture the candidate's information, allow them to edit responses in case they make a typo. Within a few clicks, they would instantly be saved as a lead in your CRM, but we don't have to stop there. We can collect experience. We can have the candidate go through different types of knockout questions. Knockout questions could be pulled directly in from your ATS. We could collect things like shift availability, maybe legal acknowledgments, whatever is going to be important to help you screen candidates for this specific type of position. And the best thing, instead of those candidates having to wait 3 to 5 days to hear back, we can give an instant congratulations to qualified candidates that you might want to be able to move instantly forward into either scheduling an interview, whether it be an on-site, a live video call, or maybe doing a recorded video interview. Some of our clients are even going so far as to consider moving toward automated instant offers for very difficult markets. When the candidate goes to schedule, they can view availability based on that hiring manager or recruiter's availability. Could be group interviews. Once that interview is scheduled, that candidate gets that instant confirmation. They would get an SMS straight to their phone or an email in their inbox, and their interviewer is provided with all the details on this candidate. We can also allow candidates to refer friends. So if I know maybe my friend Paige, I can put in her details and she would instantly get a notification that I just applied for a similar type of role. Would she be interested in something similar? And if you want to give a little bit of a reward to your candidates as a thank you, a lot of our consumer-facing clients are considering to do so. We can absolutely help you facilitate it, but it's definitely just an option for you to consider. Now, as that hiring manager, this candidate just scheduled with me. After that interview takes place, I can go back into my hiring manager tool, evaluate how I felt that that interview went. Maybe I want to recommend them, choose a reason for that recommendation, submit the evaluation. And if this is somebody that I recommended and thought would be a good fit, I can be instantly prompted to consider making an offer to this person straight through Phenom. Or of course I could say not now because I've got other candidates that I want to review first. Offers, again, controlled with templates in the back end that allow you to put the right types of guardrails in place and allows the right person to enter in the details that you would want. So again, things like maybe start dates, perhaps salary ranges or hourly rates. We can control different amounts for different regions based on whatever your needs are. And then within a couple of clicks, that offer letter can go out to our candidate, can receive it as they're walking out the door of your retail store. They would be able to view it through an SMS or an email. Click, that candidate can see all the different steps that need to happen in order for them to accept that offer. Could be signing an offer letter, maybe WOTC, could be a background check, maybe uploading some documents, or perhaps even reaching out to that recruiter or hiring manager to ask a quick question. And after they sign, boom, on to the next step. all of this tracked, all of this visible for whomever needs to be in the know. To build out these types of automations and experiences that I just showed, we use our automation engine. This is really a tool for HRIS professionals, perhaps senior TA leaders, where they can come in, see the different types of workflows that have been built out, see how they're performing, maybe notice that certain locations aren't performing as well as others, track candidate volumes, conversion rates, time in stage for every single step of the process. Including things like what types of knockout questions are knocking out the majority of our candidates so that we can consider whether or not we might want to make a change to our policy. And Phenom X Plus, that's why partially why we're here today, can kick into gear and help make recommendations. In this example, perhaps splitting out different rural locations that have lower candidate volumes. I can accept that recommendation and go right into our really easy to use workflow builder, where I can see the different recommendations that Phenom X Plus has provided. I can change my workflow. I could zoom all the way into a single store, a single location, a single job category, even an individual requisition ID. If we wanted to do something with offers, we can control all of that through this interface, and even removing job postings so that candidates are no longer applying to roles that we've already filled and instead are directed to roles where we still need higher levels of candidate volume. The automation engine is built not only to support TA workflows, but it can also be used for helping, for example, onboard remote employees, or how we could increase our leads by adding a referral process. Could even help with things like offboarding and embedding a survey for those folks that unfortunately are going to be exiting the company. Collecting feedback, LMS skill development, you name it, the automation engine is here to support you and provide analytics throughout that journey. Now I want to hand it to my good friend Nancy to take us through a couple of other enhancements that are going to be live on the platform soon. Nancy, over to you.
Thanks, Adam. Hi, everyone. I'm delighted to be here today and to share with you a couple of new things within the Phenom platform. The first one is Design Studio. Design Studio is our new no-code configuration tool in the CMS. It was conceived with the idea that it should be easy for you to manage your global brand across the career site and make global changes to widgets that you use everywhere on your site. With that in mind, let's talk about some of the possibilities for this. Imagine you have to do a global rebrand and you need to change your fonts and your color scheme. Previously, you might have had to submit a support ticket for that. Today, with that in mind, you can use our global settings. You're able to go in and adjust fonts and colors and have that reflected across your entire site. We've removed the need to submit tickets to customize all aspects of your current site. Let's dig in now and look at widgets. You've always been able to edit widgets within the CMS and make changes to those widgets. What's new is you can now make those changes globally. I'll show you how this works. I'm looking at this particular widget and I don't really like the padding. I can simply click on it, go into design settings, and change the padding from 120 down to 20. You can see my line of text is all in one line now. I really like that, so I'm going to update the style. Again, this is reflected everywhere this particular widget is used. I also want to add a custom icon to the search button. By clicking on it, I can go in here, I can search for different icons, and oh, there's an arrow pointing to the right. I think that's going to be perfect. By updating it, you can see it's now appearing. I can save it, and the search button, wherever that appears, that custom icon will be on there. The other thing that we've changed in our global rebrand is the corner radius on our cards. I click in here, I edit, I'm changing the radius from 4, which was our old brand, to 16, which is our new brand. And I update the style, and you can see that is reflected across all of these cards. This will be reflected anywhere those are used across all of my tenants and subtenants. Design Studio simplifies your work and will help you to be more efficient and effective at managing your brand and creating a consistent experience for your candidates across all of your tenants globally. Now let's pivot and look at our next generation of analytics. I'm very excited to show you this as it represents an evolution of Phenom data and talent analytics. One of the things that we've been able to incorporate is pre-configured personalization and contextualization of your analytics view. This example is featuring David. David is a talent acquisition manager responsible for hiring a particular division. When David logs into analytics, he can see his personalized data that is important to him, including his jobs, applicants, and other metrics. He also has a set of reports available to him that he uses frequently, his recently reviewed, and other items. One of the features is critical alerts. Critical alerts are based on thresholds that David has pre-configured. One of his thresholds is career site traffic. We can see that we're showing a decline for him. He's able to drill in and look at additional information if he wants to. If we go over to the left-hand side, you'll see a menu of talent hubs. These talent hubs are where we pull together data and insights and share them with you based on interests. Here's your marketing talent hub. In here, you'll be able to see data related to campaigns, blogs, traffic, apply funnels, and a variety of other important metrics. The Talent Acquisition Hub is the center of your TA universe. In here, you can see acceptance rates, candidates, job performance, scheduling, and other funnel and pipeline metrics. The Insights Hub enables you to look at a metric and understand the drivers of that metric. In this example, we're comparing time to hire, and we're looking at the drivers that are visitors, campaigns sent, and campaigns viewed. We're also showing a forecast for next quarter. By understanding better the drivers of metrics like time to hire, we can better set our team up for success. Finally, the Decision Intelligence Hub is where it all comes together. Here you can understand trends and conduct experiments using your historical data to understand what levers you need to pull and to ensure you're delivering the talent your business requires. In this example, we're looking at customer success roles between Philadelphia and India and looking at a variety of factors that will help lead our team to success. The next generation of Phenom Analytics will power your decision-making, evolving your team's performance. It's been my pleasure to introduce you to our design studio and next generation of analytics. And now I'd like to hand off to my colleague, Ilya Golden.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ilya. I'm a principal data scientist at Phenom. Let me talk to you about some of the AI technologies under the hood that may not be the sexiest kind of thing that you might think about when you think about talent acquisition, but these technologies are critical to making talent acquisition, talent management technologies work for you in our modern age. Let's talk about career sites. So, as one example of something that has to happen under the hood, you want every search, every recommendation on a career site to come with a little job summary called a teaser. When a candidate searches for the job, the search result comes with the summary called a teaser, and you could write these summaries manually, or you can have generative AI do it for you. Modern AI models do an excellent job of summarizing text. So this is an easy way to save a few minutes for every job that you post on your career site. Let's stay with this career site framework. Let's talk about other kinds of optimization. Thanks to rich data collection, we know that candidates might return to your site multiple times before they apply to a job. So across several visits, a candidate might leave a digital data trail by interacting with multiple job postings, by engaging with other aspects of the career site. We can use this digital data trail to personalize the candidate's experience. For example, we can automatically recommend jobs that are relevant to what the candidate has viewed in the past. And we can also personalize how search technologies work for the candidate with an algorithm called learning to rank. This means that a candidate's search experience improves over time. Another AI opportunity is A/B testing. With A/B testing, we can optimize your career site as Phenom develops new technologies. For example, take the learning to rank algorithm that we just talked about. Using A/B testing, we measured how much searches improved with learning to rank compared against a naive search algorithm. We can take A/B testing to the next level using another model called multi-arm bandits. For example, imagine you have an experiment where you want to compare 10 different versions of some candidate experience. If some version of these 10 is worse than the others right out of the gate, there's no point in running that version. We might as well stop it rather than serving it to candidates for the full length of the experiment. So with multi-arm bandits, experiments become more efficient so that we can test out more algorithm configurations to find one that works for you. Let's talk about the recruiter experience. A critical piece of that is the Phenom Fit Score model. Fit Score is the Phenom model that predicts whether a resume is a good match for a job. It's a complex model with configuration options that may be appropriate for your organization. For example, you might have a single job category like sales that contains both junior folks like junior retail sales reps, as well as senior sales leaders. Their jobs really fall in different job zones. They require different amounts of preparation. So we can customize FitScore to take job zone into account accordingly. Let's also talk about AI matching techniques for job seekers who have not applied for jobs, but might be valuable to your organization. We can use AI to discover strong candidates already in your CRM, like your past silver medalists. Or we can use AI to create new leads from the career sites. We can also match against millions of candidates who share their data publicly online. These public candidates may not even know about your company, but with Phenom AI, you can match them against jobs and reach out to them to source them to apply. Let me show you one thing of our AI focus that I think is actually a critical piece of how AI is going to be thought about in the future. And this critical piece is something that is very, very important to me personally, and it has to do with this topic of AI bias. So one thing that we did recently is we performed a bias audit, an internal bias audit of FitScore. We wanted to make sure that FitScore is doing a good job, an unbiased job, not merely an accurate job of recommending which candidates to interview and which candidates, which resumes are a good fit for a job. This is a tremendous accomplishment by Phenom to do this extensive bias audit. We came to a conclusion that FitScore is unlikely to introduce or worsen adverse impact, to worsen bias during the interview decision stage of an employee selection process. This is a bias audit that included over 6,000 jobs, over 600,000 candidates, and well over 97% of the jobs that we looked at did not have bias against either gender or against race or ethnicity. With that important announcement, I'm going to hand over the presentation to our next set of speakers for closing our Phenom X Plus Live event.
Cool. Hi, folks. You have seen the demo of Phenom X Plus. It's pretty much like we have really covered every part of the talent ecosystem, where in the talent management and also in the talent acquisition, where all you can use like the generative AI infrastructure to make things very simple. So how we did it and how we are really doing in the background is the most important aspect. So we constantly think about a concept called as ensemble AI, which is what is the most critical thing in enterprise, which is about the speed and the quality are critical to really make the whole thing actually work. Most of the generative AIs today is about consumers. It's a consumer-focused API, whether it is a ChatGPT or whether you are really calling it as Google Bard. It doesn't matter what it is. They're all focused on even Mid-Journey, or you're really talking about like synthesis.ai. All these things are predominantly focused on the consumer. So what we thought about it is, where is the consumer trajectory versus enterprise trajectory? What is the exact point where we can really go after this and really think about it is acceptable for enterprise to make it work, especially in the HR genre? So we have 4 pillars in generative AI infrastructure, in general AI. One is we constantly think about workflow. Where in the workflow will inject something which is very effective? The reason what we believe in with AI is it's not a mission critical infrastructure. It's actually an assistant, a co-pilot, a cobot. That's how it will actually work. So make sure it's being part of the collaboration. The next one is about ethics. So, and the governance. How can you really do it? Trust versus control. Think about lineage of the data and also the bias. And then active learning, which is what we really think about. How do we fine tune these models? And also think about analytics in terms of quality, also in terms of effectiveness. So we create for every company an enterprise context, which we call as enterprise talent graph is the primary infrastructure. Every person who walks into the Phenom universe of the talent ecosystem, we really have a talent identification. Then we look at the user activity. Then we think about what is the business context this business operate, or that particular job actually really sits in which location, which job family, which work zone, and then really look at our APIs and what the external APIs, what we can really connect with. And we have humongous data infrastructure, which we have really curated for the last 10 years. What we're really doing is not new. It's what we're really doing for years together. We are making sure we are taking all that massive data engine infrastructure and connect it in a much more thoughtful way. Now, what we call this as Phenom Ensemble AI. Now, we have a lot of foundational models available in the market, whether it's a text or image or video. We use that for NLU and the deep learning techniques, a lot of areas. Then we also think about specialized models, which we create the most of the models on our own infrastructure, which is about like how the work zones are separated, how industries are separated, or how locations actually are utilized for a company. And these are fine-tuned models on top of what you really see on foundational models. Then we have the contextual models, which is what we really think about. Where is this company and what does their infrastructure look like? Every team is different. Every department is different. A company can have multiple zones of multiple departments in a given organization. And then we think about the user, a recruiter versus a sourcer versus a manager versus an employee versus a candidate. They all really need different kinds of contexts and different kinds of outputs. And when we really think about all this, about the user level, the user adoption is way slower than we have ever really looked at, but it's quickly accelerating, especially in HR on multiple factors. So there are 3 types of AI adopters from a user perspective. And that's what is happening in the market today, not only just in HR, in every industry. So the first one is people who reject AI, thinking like, hey, AI is actually going to replace me, so I don't want to do anything with it or train with it. And there are some people who love and really think about which use cases it can assist me and which use cases it's not effective. And I love for those particular reasons. Then you have people who actually think, hey, I like it, but I'm not able to connect with the use cases where it will make sense. And now with all these 3 types of different types of adopters in the user base, you have to constantly think about whom you have to train at what level and how do you make the overall product experience much more user-friendly and intuitive. Now, AI is definitely a job transformation agent, irrespective of what we think about AI, what our adoption levels are. There are a lot of jobs going to be lost, but there are a lot more jobs going to be created across. And that we have seen in the last 10 years, multiple times what's really going on in the market. Now, as skills are changing, transitions are going to be super uncomfortable and hard for many, many people. And that's one pain it will create in HR. As an HR industry, we have to address this. By work zone, you will have transition differently planned. Now think about this. How many of you actually used to be proud 15 years back about your navigation skills, looking into a map and really can say, like, I can drive from here to California very easily, and my skills are so good in terms of how to navigate on the road, which is super cool. And if you look at today, most of that skill is vanished. The reason is because of the GPS. So how many of you really still carry that skill? Less than 1%. Most of the people have lost it. Even while riding a bike, you are basically using a GPS today. But here is the most important point. A tool will enhance and amplify what you're really doing. There is no doubt about it. But a tool won't replace you. So here is the most important thing what you have to think about. When you really get into a zone, you basically use the tool. If the tool is not there, you are keep on circling. I'll give an example. A realtor in my neighborhood basically use GPS every time they walk in and go out. If they don't have a GPS, they keep on really going around. That doesn't mean the realtor is not valuable. It only means the realtor lost the skill of navigation. So the bigger question what you need to ask is, have GPS changed the destination where you want to go, or has it changed the reason to travel till now? Have it ever happened? Maybe you want to go to a particular restaurant, you can change it because the ratings are different and it's near and the traffic is low. But going to a restaurant hasn't changed from your perspective. That decision is still in your hands. That's what a human judgment and human control is all about. Tools just come and help you to amplify you. They are not here yet to replace you. It's too hard and it's too far away. So there are 4 takeaways which you have to think about. Skills are changing dramatically irrespective of what you're really thinking. And these changes are going to be painful if we don't really plan effectively. AI is an assistant. It's not an autonomous on its own, can do mission critical things. Balancing AI and humans are the most effective and essential things what we need to do. And AI regulation is going to be like almost like a nuclear regulation where things will be really put into perspectives, how it will impact by particular zones, by location, and this will change by countries. And that's a good thing for the community in general. Now, when you don't like an AI, you don't need to use. There is a great quote from Steve Jobs when an interviewer asked him, hey, what if these machines will take over you? He said, they're 12 pounds, you can throw out of a window, and that's why there is a handle. And if your relationship is not going well. So that's that simple. AI, whenever we are creating AI, we are making sure it has an ability where you can switch it off. And if you really like it and adoption is high, you can use it. And that control is in your hand. So we are all responsible and accountable to make these decisions effectively because the transitions can be rough and skills are changing dramatically. So we have to make the whole HR ecosystem to come into the equation in an effective format. And that's what really creates everyone to be included, really heard, and really build products from their perspective, which is what we are doing. But also, you as a customer or an HR practitioner, think about how your team can be included to really get the right kind of input so that you can use AI in the right effective format. With Phenom, let's make every talent moment phenomenal. Let's help 1 billion people find the right job. Thank you.